I'll put you in a trance. Let's party. Boogie in your body. Want that body. Make sure you don't hurt nobody. I say, hey, feel the fire when it burns inside ya. Yeah, get up off of that thing. Dance, shake, and let's swing. Come on, let me rock the world.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the R&R podcast, where we bring you ragu and raviolis. I am your host today, Chavez, and we have my main man here, Ming.
Hello.
We also have Rolento, drinking bubbly. And we also have Trey T.P. Patterson. I don't know why I keep doing that.
It's because, like, it's his first
it's
letter,
the first
last letter. It just rocks
it
out
works.
with it. It works.
It
I told him
works.
what he should do with his artwork. He don't ever listen to me.
Yo, guys. All right, so I want to get into the meat of some shit.
Did you say meat?
preferably,
Big anime titties.
chest meat, baby. Chest meat. That's nasty.
It sounded like you were saying chest meat. Like,
Checked meat.
And when I say chest meat, I'm not talking about the hairs on your chest that becomes taco meat. I'm talking about titties. Now, the reason we're talking about titties is because DOA and the controversy.
Dead on arrival?
Nope, Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive 6, and it's controversy and titties. All right, so we're gonna talk about that today. I want to know how people feel about this. It's been getting negative reviews because of bouncing boobs, which is stupid, in my opinion. I understand why it's bothering people, but I do think it's stupid to give it a bad review because it bounces titties. It's had bouncing titties his entire life, and I would be completely cool if you being able to turn the settings on to make them stiff titties if that's what you wanted, so that you felt that you could focus on the fighting. But the thing is, that, and it's also been getting some backlash. I mean, I understand why they did this, but it's stupid. $100 DLC, season pass. It's season pass for $100 for all like the little costumes and stuff like that. So basically, hey guys, it's like, I'm looking at it like this. It's like a patron. If you want to see my nude body and have lewd anything, you have to spend $100 and you get to have some skimpy outfits. But my thing is, you can go beat your meat for free. Yeah. How do you guys feel about this? It's getting bad reviews for something that it's been for a long time. And you know who I want to talk to about it? Ming, you have all the juice. And I know you do. But I want to talk to motherfucking Rolento, because this, if nobody in the podcast, anybody listening to the podcast, if you guys do not know, this is my homie's game. This is his favorite. The
only fighting game that I'm actually really good at.
And he loves the counter system. He likes knowing that he countered you and making you feel stupid after he punches you.
That is also true.
That is why he likes it. But the real reason my friend likes it, and I want to talk about this, is because of those unbalanced titties.
What?
I'm kidding.
Hold up. Fucking gonna massacre me and shit. I see the pitchforks coming. Kill him. Like, no.
No, but no, that's not the only reason he likes it. I mean, it's there, but that's not the reason he plays it. But how do you feel about it? Because you have been following the series since, I mean,
I first played DOA 3. I think since 308. DOA 3 is when I first got introduced to it. But I went kind of backtracked a bit just to see where roots came from.
True.
So, I see what they mean, but to give it, I gotta make sure I get a start point. To give a game a bad review because you don't like the character models is a bad reviewer. The game, the gameplay, the fighting sequence, and the fighting systems is fucking phenomenal. It stands up to where it's currently at with all the other fighting games that are out now and will be coming out. It's always been a good fighting game. It always will be a good fighting game. But people are getting upset because of bouncing titties, and I see again why, because it objectifies women And, you know, that's just something that that shouldn't be a thing compared to where men on there actually show their bodies as well. As you know, my Bruce Lee character up there, I don't use him, but he likes to, you know, wear no shirt. So
what if do you think and this is my question to you, do you think that people would be, or the women who are, I'm pretty sure it's mostly women who are who feel this way about it.
we can pretty much take a guess on that.
I take a shot in the dark and say it's mostly women who probably feel this way, which I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
If dicks were bouncing every time you got hit, do you think that'd be all right?
That'd be comical. I would laugh. I would like zoom the camera because you know the ability to zoom the camera around, and I would just move around. And
they get punched real good, and their balls just kind of move like that's real.
I mean, by all means, it would be weird, but like I would find that funny. But the whole thing is like the media ain't going out the way and making dick looking things and dick movements like the sexualization that women love. Like it's so all right. So I thought about this today, and my initial reaction. Overall, about the outside of the review, just the idea of objectifying women in video games, because obviously that's bad. But my initial review was, why you social justice warriors gotta keep fucking with my shit? That was my initial review. I was like, I'm tired of y'all trying to ruin my game.
Bringing your everyday life into this fantasy world that I like.
So again, the game by itself, gameplay, holds up to a T. I hear that it's fucking phenomenal and that it must be bought. I will be buying it eventually because I also don't like that $93 DLC. But I will say, when it comes to their selling point, of we got big ass titties, it shake, go buy it. Yes, they have some questionable marketing with that, or at least questionable fandom with that.
Yeah.
That is in Japan. This was not meant for us. Let's make sure we include this. Y'all SJWs are attacking a game that's really a foreign game, and it comes over to America. It's not really now. By all means, it eventually got its own market, but it was a Japanese game. This is Japanese culture. If you don't like the Japanese culture, you can start a war with Japan if you want. But then that goes into all the political shit down the road. So first and foremost, it doesn't involve America. Mind your goddamn business. But I will say, when it comes to the idea of objectifying women in the game, I agree that there is a time for change. Because if we sit there, and this is my second review when I thought about it, and it was like the idea of, okay, it's always been that way, and that mindset is why slavery was so long. Why certain events in history that people want to erase, or certain, you know, standpoints, like outside of games, just in general, that people don't like change. But at the same time, in history, we see that, okay, well, you can just take the statement of, well, it's always been that way, and apply it to a lot of things, and be like, well, that doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
So I see where they're coming from, and I can agree that there should be a change in the character models or the way that they design their games a bit. I do not agree with the bad reviews that people get, or people give this game, you know? So it's just utter trash. And when it comes to the DLC price, I'm not paying $93 for DLC for Lewd fucking goddamn costumes. But the game costs $59.99. $63.59 if you're in my area, because, you know, tax is not that high. But it's like, but I'm not paying more money for a DLC than I do with the initial game. That makes absolutely no sense. I don't agree with that.
You're paying for the idea that you might see a nipple.
I don't agree with that. So I will be getting this game, but not immediately. I'm gonna wait a little bit, see what they do, and maybe wait till a bundle comes out. But when it comes to just the controversy of big ass titties falling in my face, or it is, I'm okay with it. But I see that at the same time that there's time for change. Like I could agree that there should be some changes done to some of the character models, because just because it's always been doesn't mean it can always be.
I'm pretty sure there is I'm pretty sure in older DOAs, or at least in 5.
Right, they took it. They did size it.
Yeah, you were able to like turn it to where like they didn't move,
and they got my
like
girl
that.
Mila back. Ooh, I'm so excited.
So it's like, if you're doing that, like I don't see, if there's a setting for that, or I mean, because of the day and age we live in where everything is download, like if something needs to be changed, they can do it.
Yeah.
You can make the complaint, say something, stand up for what you believe in. And by the way, like, even though we made the initial joke at the beginning, like, we do want to see there be some type of change in it, in that aspect. We just don't want to see it reviewed badly.
I just think there should be an option.
Yeah, it should be an option.
It should be an option if you don't want that to happen. So at the very least, they don't. Because here's the thing: they're gonna lose if they do one way or the other. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah.
So it's like, just give them the option to walk that fine line where it's like, well, these titties are too big. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I like big titties. So give the option to give them big titties or not give them big titties. And it's a setting you switch on.
Some people playing it for lewd purposes. Other people are playing it for just the fighting aspect.
No one looks at titties. Alright, I'm going to be 100% serious in the fighting game. I don't give a fuck that the titties are big. I'm trying to win the match. I'm not sitting there looking like, haha, look at her titties while I'm trying to hit this combo. In my head, I'm like, alright, quarter circle this. So when you're sitting there reviewing a game, talking about they got some big ass titties, just because you're in a character model and you're looking at them. You're not playing the game.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. I was gonna say my point on this is, I feel like this falls under cultural appropriation, and to be honest, who are we? And I feel like we're being very American when we're making these stances.
Thank you.
To say this Japanese game doesn't fit our standards,
and that's exactly what I'm coming with.
Because all those women are actually mostly Japanese.
But that's what they do, and for us to really put it's what America's always done is say, oh well, this is America now, and in America, this is how it's supposed to roll.
And we'll be the same ones mad when they snatch that shit from us and say you can't get it here. Oh, what the fuck? You telling me we can't get it? No game? Like,
and I think games, should be played the way that they were meant to be played. Like, I'm not saying that
you're affecting someone's artistic
exactly
views.
You are exactly, and I can understand if things are changed, like voice acting or just a few little nuances so that other people can understand it. But who are we to take away the original vision of the project? They have to do extra work to accommodate for us at that point.
Yeah, it's not fair. And then it takes longer for it to come out, and it costs more money. And the thing is, like, are we actually going to put the money up, or are we just bitching because it's something that we saw real quick?
Exactly. And I feel like it's a really, and it gets into like a bigger issue of Sony right now, and Ming could even talk to you about this. They have a thing where they're like, hey, like this Samurai and Kagura game needs to be censored.
Oh, you're
yeah,
your guilty pleasure.
But yeah, or whatever. But I feel like it's so wrong when we are Americanizing a foreign thing, a foreign artwork. Like, and
but listen, that's America's history. We just always invade shit.
With everything
is America's history. We just take shit.
They do it with everything. Like, I can understand.
We know we is.
If it's an American made game, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Because then you're abiding by our rules. You already know how we play this game.
Like, you have they have a certain, like,
we have a certain standard,
a taboo or guideline,
exactly, to kind of go by.
You know what's crazy? Now that you say it, I've never heard another country go, "Oh man, you fucking Halo." Well, there's only one time where they asked for something to change, and the only time I know of is the Crash Bandicoot thing.
I was thinking of Manhunt. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was an American game, but
that was American.
Well, Manhunt got basically like banned and shit.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Well,
we all know.
I'm just saying, like, because it didn't fit by their guidelines. So,
like, I feel like everybody has their own quirk. Like, a lot of other foreign countries, they think that American games can be very violent, and they might like tone down the violence, But with that being said, that there's people overseas that they want to play the game also how it was meant to be played. And I feel like that should just be the same way. Exactly. It should be that on our boards. And the reason why the ESRB or the rating system across all different, it's PEGI, I forget them. It's PEGI, it's 18? ESRB. Yeah. All the different rating systems across the world. Mm-hmm. The reason why they were set in place is for this, So we get a game with bouncing titties and stuff. It's exactly. And I feel like that's where the line should go to is, hey, we acknowledge that this is your thing. This is your content. We're taking it. All we're going to do is make our little tweaks so that our audience can understand what is happening. and we're gonna put this rating on the game so people that shouldn't be playing this game shouldn't be playing this game. I think as far as like putting feminist or masculine or any other kind of views onto that game is just us being selfish.
Yeah, you're being selfish towards me.
So, so this is my background information on the, like, since, like, all the stuff about Dead or Alive 6 from when it was announced. When it was initially, like, confirmed, like, oh yeah, like, it's in production, there was actually a huge controversy about the director saying, like, oh yeah, like, since we want Dead or Alive 6 to be more recognized as a fighter, we're going to tone down the sexuality. With that statement, the fan base, like, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, like, it's that feeling of, like, God damn it, like, this fucking culture war is making its way into my damn video game. And, like, people hate it. But, since then,
God damn it.
No, no, I mean, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, dude, like, it's fucking bullshit. But, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So, but since then, after, like, months after that initial backlash, as more footage of the game came out, it was actually, like, coming out that, like, oh yeah, like, even though they had the statement initially that they wanted to tone down the sexuality, they were actually, like, keeping a lot of things in. And I actually want to read you guys an interview quote about sort of the director commenting about the controversy. So this article is on Gematsu. The interview question is, in the past, it has been said Dead or Alive is toned down compared to previous entries. In what sense? The director says, actually, when we said toned down before, it was actually misunderstood, so we're hoping to avoid using that phrase from now on. Rather than toning it down, it was more of a change in image. Since the main concept of Dead or Alive 6 is intense fighting entertainment, we decided everything from the user interface to the default costumes of the characters to show each character's fighting style. For example, Hitomi is a karate user, so she wears karate clothes. Rather than saying toned down, we wanted to create cooler and more heroic looks to the characters themselves. As you can see with Kasumi, it's only her default costume that has a covered up look. When people first saw this, they thought that the entire game would be toned down, but is only the default costume. There are some costumes that are more cutesy looking, and some that are sexy, so it's not toned down, it's just that we base the game on a desire to create this image of an intense fighting entertainment. Also, Dead or Alive has male characters, and another thing we wanted to focus on is that there were some players that might feel embarrassed about playing a game, which we wanted to avoid, which is why we made the default costumes have a cooler and more heroic look to them. This next question is actually, like, very relevant to what you guys were talking about in terms of, like, American, like, sort of ideals. This interview question. And just to finalize that topic, what are your personal thoughts on the whole Sony censorship ordeal that has been a hot topic as of late? The answer? In regards to regulations, it's not actually just limited to Sony. There has been a worldwide change in views recently, but for this game, we really wanted to focus on that fighting game aspect. The only thing that I regret for Dead or Alive 6 is that since it's a Japanese game, there are some parts of Japanese culture that recent times have deemed no longer acceptable. So not being able to show that is a bit of a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? I fuck with the fact that their default stuff is to one up the actual character, to define the individual character more, right? I like the fact that the option is there. If you want a slutty fighting game, it's there if that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a more, I don't want to see that, or I want to see it like this, it's there. So the option was given. You know what I mean? Now, for the Bouncing Titty thing, I don't know if the setting is there for you to be like, I don't want Bouncing Titties or I want Bouncing Titties, but I'm pretty sure in previous entries you could. You know what I mean? If that's the case, the option is there for you to have what you're looking for. Just because it's in the game doesn't mean you got to go searching for it.
You got to searching for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you look for a problem, you're going to find a problem.
Yeah, like, if that's what you're looking for, like, if you're like, oh man, well, it's still here. Okay.
And?
Okay, well, that's how this game built its fan base. That's how this game was built up from the beginning. So, if half of it there and half of it's for you, I think you should take the half that's for you and move on.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to take the whole.
Like that, it's like buying a pizza. All right, one group. You gotta. Everybody wants something different. We might have all agreed. Hey, I want half pepperoni. I want half cheese. Okay, well, if you don't fuck with pepperoni, then take the cheese slice and move on. You know what I'm saying? Go enjoy the party.
But Chavez, fuck you. I want to have it where there's no bouncing titties at all.
Good luck.
But there is no excuse for the DLC though. Like that DLC. I can sit here and talk about
is like that. I will. I mean, so
They're
I am
wrong.
of the other mindset where it's like, yeah, damn, like I love how attractive like these characters look. I love
really-
these slutty outfits. But no, like those DLC prices are like completely absurd. They're like really trying to like
but it's like
target
a patron.
the really
Has
thirsty
anybody tried to follow something on
gamers.
Patreon?
Can I just? I hope it's one of those things where it's like you gotta buy these or you can unlock them because I know that in the franchise they always had it where it was like that.
No,
where it's
no,
like
so-
you could unlock these items
so-
if you
so
complete certain
actually,
challenges. I'm like. Ooh.
That is one of the valid criticisms of the game is that until a recent patch, I believe, they made it so that the points that you would accrue to unlock a costume would not only take an absurd amount of time, but also instead of being like, oh, I have X amount of points that I'm going to use those points to redeem for a specific character costume, it was random. Not only was it grindy, it was also like, hey, you're being given a random amount of points to a random character costume.
Wow.
So like some character that you like never played, it's just like, I freaking
Overwatch.
like freaking played the ass out of all these challenges.
You go get the black
And
dude
like,
in the Speedo?
yeah, exactly. And it's
Zach,
like,
man,
get
fuck
Zach-
Zach,
you
bro.
wanna get Zach in the Speedo?
Zach and the
Zach,
Teletubby
man.
suit.
Yo, that nigga was nice though. He was really, really hard to beat. I hate playing Zax. I hate him.
Zach
I hate him
is-
so
yeah,
much.
Zach-
But they
Zach's
gave my
awesome.
Mila back, and Mila's my favorite character in the franchise ever since she got introduced. Love her to death.
But continuing on with like valid criticism is that like in the same vein as Street Fighter V when it was released, they also released Dead or Alive 6 with like I think it's lobby matches that aren't actually live yet. Like that's a patch coming out like next week or something, and it's kind of that same thing where it's like
Oh,
Street
yeah.
Fighter V also got shit for like not having arcade mode, not having like online. It's just like what the hell, like
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Dead or Alive 6 falls in that same bucket of like, yes, the devs are promising like, hey, yeah, we have this like these gameplay features coming out, but they're not available yet. So that's kind of like,
Who's the
come on,
Who's the publisher for Street Fighter?
Capcom.
Capcom? Okay,
Yeah.
I kept forgetting. I was like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, is Namco again? Goddamn Namco!
No,
what the
no,
fuck are you
it's-
doing?
It's Capcom.
Namco, no.
Yeah.
But-
But no, this is a like an actually just like a straight up like the fighting game industry like just seems to have a problem with like this shit. It's
When
like
it comes to
finish
the
your damn
content.
game.
Yeah, well,
Finish making
yeah,
your
a lot
damn
of-
game.
Well, because that's where they.
They even delayed the game.
That's where the microtransactions really do well in fighting
Yeah.
games and fucking shooters.
That's
That's
what
where that
matters.
DLCs
Yeah.
and that's where all that shit
Because
really
everybody
ties
wants
into
their
it.
costume. Everybody wants that costume that makes them feel like, haha, bitch, I've been whooping your ass. Now you get to see me in the costume. I like to see it. I need something to keep my eyes happy while I'm whooping that ass.
Well,
Like,
I
that's why
can't. But
people
here's
buy
the thing:
costumes.
like, it goes back onto what I'm saying. If you're playing this game, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but when it comes to me playing a fighting game, I'm not paying attention to what the fuck I'm wearing. I'm paying attention to what combo comes next in my head to
When
hit
you-
you with.
when
Like,
you-
it's really like only time I get to really
Trey know
get
what
this.
I'm talking about. When you get to a certain level, I'm sure
When
May
you
knows
know about what
when
you're
you
gonna
know
do.
what you're doing already, like when it becomes like
Second nature.
second nature,
Yeah.
you start to find new reasons to keep yourself intrigued in the game. And I have never
get-
been
yeah.
more irritated.
What goofy outfit did he wear?
Goofy outfit or something like that. For instance, Trey knows this. When Fighters was doing like the October like special like colors, I think they even did it for Christmas. I had got a special like color, and it pissed him off. We were playing. He was like, "Where the fuck you get this at?" And I started whooping ass, and it was like, hold up, you ain't gonna put on your new clothes and then think that you gonna win." So then I had to go back to my old clothes because he beat me out of them new clothes.
Yeah, get your ass beat. You got to change your clothes. I'm gonna come back, and when I do,
You know what I'm saying? But that's really a thing. But that's something to just keep us.
Yeah, I mean,
Feel
I
like
can
it's
understand.
fresh.
I can understand. I guess the idea of costumes or it is, but I'm talking about like where people are pointing out in this situation where it's like your titties are bouncing and it's distracting me or something like that, or it's like, oh, I like this fighting game only because I like looking at titties and they're just staring at the titties and not.
You'd be surprised. There's some.
I'm
freaks
not.
out
No,
there.
by all means,
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be freaks out there. That's just
Freaks
life.
come out at night. 111.
It's like I can't believe that. I just don't like that they're just basing a review off the game. Like, I mean, if you give the game a review that's average or slightly above average because of the microtransactions or the DLCs included or stuff like that, I can see then. But if you're sitting there saying that it's basically soft porn with great fighting mechanics, and then giving it like a fucking 5 out of 10 because of that, it's like
case,
you're being really biased in your statement now. Like
you're
playing like now you're kind of playing a
Soul Calibur.
factor.
You knock those clothes off.
That's not giving me an honest rating.
Yeah.
Even though I don't really need your honest rating, I'm a fucking adult, and I can figure out if I want to play the game my damn self if I don't want to or do want to. But it's because, like, for people who are maybe trying to get introduced to a series and you're like, well, don't play this game because even though the mechanics are really great and you'll actually get sucked in, is because bouncing titties are bad.
Yeah, DOA is fighting for his fucking life. Y'all trying to kill him.
God damn it.
But see, so it's one thing to put in political, like have a political stance for a video game, but then it's a completely different to have it in your journalism, in your review. Like, who wants that? Like, you shouldn't base your review based on, like, I don't like the fact that, and then they do a good job in masking it and try to say, it's the fact of they're not innovative enough because they're keeping this same concept. And then they might mention it slightly, bouncing titties. And that's the reason why it deserves a bad review. There's nothing new that they bring to the table. And that's what they say. But underlining all that, you're just like, but
Tekken bring this Negan. So it brought us a new character from a fucking franchise to the game. That's been 6 fucking games of seven games.
Tekken takes forever to drop characters.
When you think about it, though, what new features can fighting games really add? Like, they add a power, like they'll be like, here's a special move, here's new characters, here's this.
Don't add a special move all the time, because if you add a special move, you know what happens. Everybody go, this fucking game ain't got mainstream.
It got easy, yeah, it's casual, it's filthy casual.
It's casual as fuck. You can't do anything because of the type of era. Like, as a gamer, and with the SJWs, as you call them, the social justice warriors, and first off, gamers are picky as fuck regardless. SJW, we already know where that's going. So you combine the two, nobody's happy ever. You'll never be happy.
Well, here's the thing, and on the counterpoint of while I've been defending my DOA and stuff like that, I will add that if a lot of people want to push their agenda and they want to make it where they want, realism in their games, or they don't want to have it where it's, objectifying, certain genders, then make it across the board. Make it across the board where, okay, well, we can't have big titties, cool. You can't have, niggas with big asses. I don't know, maybe girls like big butts. No, real shit. No, real shit. No, this isn't real. No, you're laughing, but this is a real thing. Did you know that women look at your ass?
I definitely know about this.
I mean, I know
so,
that.
So it's something where it's like, okay, well, if you want to make it where you're taking away something that makes me be like, okay, it draws me in, draws my attention. You want to take that away because you don't feel comfortable that the body type is not right. Then I don't feel comfortable when motherfucking Snake walks around with his ass cheeks out. Or I don't feel comfortable when this dude has an 8-pack and I don't got a fucking... I need to make that...
I would like to remind you that when, Smash Ultimate came out, they did actually nerf Snake's ass.
I'm glad.
Wait, but the real
His
question is...
ass got...
The real question is, did they nerf Genji's?
You gonna not nerf me, gonna die! But basically, what I'm coming across is, if you want to have it where it's the equal balance on, you can't have it one way and not the other. That's the main thing.
Certain characters were sexy, like girls like, oh my god, this character's fucking sexy.
Yeah, I see a whole bunch of women
all the time
loving
Cloud,
these certain
Link,
male characters, or loving characters that they like.
Oh, it's time for us to put a shirt on.
Yeah, then I want
to put a shirt on, baby. That's it.
Exactly.
You will not objectify my male nipples.
See, and I'm not trying to be a smartass, but I'm just making a statement that if you want to have it, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to choose. Either you're 100% on the fence and you're like, yes, you know what? All across the board, everyone's getting nerfed. Or you gotta be like, well, one side is nerfed, we can't make the other side nerfed, so everything's good. Either censor it or uncensor everything across the board. That's what I'm going with. And that's my statement, my little rant. So how do you guys do?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I don't have a problem with this.
I'm just saying, you legit.
One thing that I also think is that what we're taking away from is these engines were built on a physics engine. And we're talking about real life physics.
If titties move, they move, bro.
If you can figure out the math to fix this, that means go to physics. And I'm not saying you're not smart enough, but if you can sit there and be like, this is the formula to reduce that, then go to fucking head and then send it to them so they can fix it.
It's really funny that you mentioned the physics engine, but like that is like something that I imagine Team Ninja does take a lot of pride in, to the point where like, so back when Evo Japan happened, main stage, they had a like, this was, you know, more just promotion for the game before it actually came out. They released like a lot more footage, and they actually had like a really funny main stage show where they had these two fairly well endowed showgirls like on stage, and they're like and they're like sort of like having fun. They're like poking fun, like, wow, like the physics engine in Dead or Alive is so realistic that it's just like this. And you just have the one girl like sort of just jumping up and down, and it's like, yeah, like, look at this, observe how perfectly we like designed these physics. And like, and because of the culture there, like, everyone's having like a freaking like a laugh. It's kind of awkward, but it's like they like revel in that enjoyment. But the thing is, in terms of the Twitch broadcast, Mr. Wizard, the president of Evo himself, shut down the stream. Because, like, this does not align with our core values. And then on that day, core values become a freaking meme among the fighting game community. Because, like, oh yeah, like, so
core
yeah.
values.
It's like, you just, like, have, like, these comparison images of, like, the girl, like, you know, just, like, sort of hilariously showing off, like, her friend's, like, pair of, like, her tits, and then it's like, no, like, you have, like, there's not core values, and you have an image of, Mortal Kombat with the dude's, like, scrotum getting smashed, and it's like, yeah, those are my core values.
That is true. Like, didn't Liu Kang go down and, like, destroy the crotch?
No, that's Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Johnny Cage. Yeah,
you're right.
Oh, which,
but like,
which
that's an example of, like, sort of the
I lost it as nigga
core
Mortal Kombat. That made me
values.
mad. Like, I'm just saying, like, Trey over here beating my ass, but don't know what niggas moves. Johnny Cage, like, that's
You're
iconic.
right.
It's
No,
my
you're
chance
right.
to do the
Yeah,
plug.
you're right.
MK11. All right, it's happening. April 23rd. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, go ahead, man. Or Megan Trey, man. This nigga hype.
It's just a cultural appropriation thing. Yeah, it's a cultural appropriation thing, and like I said, I
just
think
don't
we're
agree.
just putting our American stamp on it and saying, hey, look, we enjoy it over here, so we want changes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's not. Yeah, it's not fair. Like, outside of everything.
Like, it's not fair on your side, but it's not fair for us. So you gotta kind of
It's
find
like-
that middle.
Yeah.
You gotta
Next
find
they'll
that
start
middle.
attacking anime.
They already
They
started.
already are
did.
attacking anime.
Oh.
What are you talking
Jeez.
about? We haven't had. We're not going there because
Yeah,
I got mad.
yeah.
I did.
Wait. So they're okay. Well, yeah, censorship has been around, but like, what else are they? Are they telling, like, they're forcing the creators, like, hey, these tits need to be smaller?
Trey, you can only watch anime and fucking sub if you want the full thing. People
I'm
are
not,
changing.
well, I'm not
things.
talking about like that, but I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
like in the same realm, like of like, hey, this character is too lewd right now. We need to, like, you guys got
Wasn't
to
there a
dial
whole
that
thing
back.
with Goblin Slayer in a way?
Goblin
Okay,
Slayer, Fairy Tale.
So,
Anime plug.
okay, so here's the thing. Within the like the Japanese demographic, like specifically, like their contained like marketing, they don't care. Like when you sort of the director of Shield Hero was actually asked if the controversies over the West have an influence over the way he's making the show. He answered saying that we have had no complaints in Japan, so like we don't care. Like that's not out. Like we have no say in whatever
not our
cultural
people.
fight we have in that.
Mhm.
But however, on the flip side, when it comes to the U.S. companies that help bring the anime over here, they do really stupid things where it's like, oh man, we gotta like put in all these like warnings and stuff. We have to like set, like do all this really weird censorship. All these, and even though I use Crunchyroll, they are freaking god awful at making the subtitles for some of that dialogue. They like reappropriate it so that it makes more sense for us. And then dubbing is even worse, where they like actually change the script to like push some sort of like really weird agenda.
If you it's crazy because if I know what you're talking about here, man. Because I was thinking the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking it, but I didn't know what was happening. But you saying it definitely clarified it. So I know that when you watch, I mean, we all of us, we've watched enough sub that we know certain Japanese words.
Yeah.
But not even trying to. Like, we know certain things. There has been shit. I've seen somebody say shimata. I know what that means. They completely change it.
Yeah, like
It'd be like
you hear the phrase like a million times.
It'd be like shimata, and I'm like, oh, he said shit. But then you read the bottom, and it'd be like, damn. I'm like, hold on, no, that ain't what he said. Like, and I'm just using that as like a loose example, just because But there's been certain things I've heard. I'm like, that's wrong. Like, me and Trey's favorite thing, I'd be like, oh, OG Christmas. Like that's like a thing, like, because we say that they were actually saying OG Christmas. Like, but like, the words will be changed, and I'm like, something's wrong, and it makes you like kind of want to like go to like, it kind of makes you want to go steal your anime again. Because like you know somebody's writing it.
It's
for what it
absolutely
is.
terrible in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where like, I mean, this kind of goes into like more like very specific legal crap. But it's like when you have a stand like named after a band like Sticky Fingers.
Oh, yep.
They freaking in the
Aerosmith,
subtitles call them
like that.
Zipper Man, and it's like, the fuck? He's obviously saying Sticky Fingers, but I'm reading Zipper Man.
Sticky Fingers.
Actually, now that I think about it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like, a lot of the stands are named after American bands.
Yes,
It's so true, and I'm like, I wonder how
and
they
because
are
of
like
copyright,
going about that.
they
like,
have to have
like
subtitles.
Aerosmith. What is Aerosmith called?
Oh, let me look that up. Continue that conversation.
But yeah, like, I just can't get behind the way that America kind of sort of is putting their own like stamp on everything, saying like, "Hey, it needs to be this way." It's the same thing as when
Lil Bomber.
That sucks.
What's crazy? You know what's crazy? I don't know if things were heavily censored at the time, but I think that's why the fucking golden age was the golden age. Like, if you really look back at like our old shows, you got Cowboy Bebop.
I will say
like
some
that.
of those were culturally like changed too. Like, I remember there's like a lot of scenes where like with women they would edit extra clothing on them.
Oh yeah,
it's bad.
That's crazy. Oh, holy shit! Everything I knew was a lie.
Lone sitting there and thought.
One cultural change that I think we can all agree was like, we just love it. Freaking Piccolo's Makakan Sapo, which is like the demon wave.
Yep.
It got localized as Special Beam Cannon. And I freaking love that shit.
Yeah,
it's because it's the Special Beam Cannon.
Sometimes some ships have
it works
golden.
out.
Yeah, it has
Sometimes
golden.
it
Some
works
of them
out.
are golden.
Yeah.
Special Beam Cannon. That's the shit.
But yeah, when it I was deep in thought. I was just trying to see if there was any like examples of say anime being attacked because of say somebody having big breasts or some shit like that, or if they being a little lewd, a little bit too much.
I mean,
lewd.
that happened
But
to
then
Pokemon.
but I think it depends on this audience and accessibility, or at least it's starting to seem like because it's like we're adults and we pay for subscriptions to watch anime. So I mean, I'm not saying they don't censor things, but I mean it's stuff that can be shown on TV and shit like that.
Well,
might be a little bit different.
Definitely, there are some articles circulating around saying that, yes, SJWs are attacking My Hero Academia because you have that one character that like sort of wears specific like loose clothing because
power.
Yeah, because like it's directly related to her power, but then it's like no, it's too lewd.
She got titties.
Yeah,
my girlfriend said something to me about that, and I said to her, I said, okay, well there are women with big breasts and no ass, so do us like I was telling her, I was like, because she's not quote unquote proportionate, there are women out here who have, and she got my point. Like we talked about it. I said
You
look
argued
at,
about it.
like no, we definitely talked about it because that's one thing she don't play about, and that was her issue with anime. And like we and her had like an entire like, I would say it was an argument first, then it was a talk.
Okay.
There
it is.
When did I look back at it? About why, as young black men and any men, I don't know.
I mean, let's be real about it.
Young black men and Ming's right there.
Young black man, Ming's looking right at his
and
phone like.
then I looked at Ming here and I was like, any men, men. But why many men
Wish death on me. I was waiting.
I was thinking that too. I was just
I'm
like,
so
I'm
glad
like,
you
oh,
did it.
50 Cent.
Cause I said it, I'm like, nobody's gonna go, but you did it. Alright, but yeah, why a lot of young men gravitated toward anime as much as we did. And it was like she just didn't understand it. She was like, they talk poorly women and da-da-da. I'm like, but you understand, like that's their culture. Like that's their culture. And like we had like a full blown conversation. I'm not gonna get into how we had to break it through and how she figured it out and was like, oh my god, I understand now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that could be a topic for a whole other episode. But yeah, like that whole thing itself. Like that whole thing itself, like that I definitely like lost myself there because I really like was about to go there. Help.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
American Christian values.
There we go. All right, here we go. Them trying to like change things and all that other stuff,
Censorship
and
like
and da-da-da. Yeah, like when we were talking about like the whole like My Hero Academia and like the body thing and like, oh, like, well, then shouldn't they change it? I'm like, no, they shouldn't. The reason they shouldn't is because first off, they have the creative right. Two, it makes sense. It's one thing if it didn't make sense and it was just all over the place. I understand there are some anime that is like that, and I would never turn that on for you. But the reason I turn on My Hero Academia is because it's like it's sensitive in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? There's a character who walks around fucking naked the entire episode. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see her because that's her power. She doesn't wear clothes for a reason. All she wears is gloves, and when she really wants to be like not seen, she goes takes them off. Oh shit, her sneakers and her sock and her gloves came off. But that's all you know that came off. Yeah. Everything is off. She's butt fucking naked. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going into it because you don't have to. There's a reason why the one character has like her clothes the way she is. She's very like I'm very like she's very like I don't want anybody to see me, but she also knows in order for me to be effective with my power, you know what I mean? And on top of that,
like she literally creates
like,
things stuff out of her body.
Her body.
The reason why she like has a lot of openings in her outfit is so that she can like pull it from anywhere.
Anywhere. And the thing is that she's also smart as fuck. She's not like just a dumb ditzy big titty, you know, girl who once was like, oh my god, I have powers. Like, she's a fucking genius. She's like one of the smartest in her class.
Instead of the stereotypical, you know, ditzy dumb big breast girl.
Like, and there's
you always see in the older animes or majority of older animes. But at the same time, though, when it comes to never mind. Go ahead, Trey.
I was gonna say the target audience is. I mean, it what we're talking about right now is shonen, and the target is towards young men.
That's what I said to her.
And during this period of time,
this is what women want to see.
Yeah, you're horny as fuck. Yo, it's so
that's the title. True. You're horny as fuck. I'm fighting for my life. You're horny as fuck.
Yo. You're horny as fuck. You probably just started masturbating, and you're just like, this is the best thing ever.
I told my girlfriend this. I said, do you understand what anime did for me at a young age? Like you have to understand, like...
Anime turned Chavez into a man.
Like, I explained to her, I was like, yeah, like, I don't want to go to school and look at my teacher and be like, oh man, I get a hard on from my teacher. But like, there's things that in these shonens that we actually come to grips with. There's things that happen. Like, there's a character I was explaining to her about Naruto. I was like, Naruto came out when I was 12 going on 13 if I wasn't already 13. And there was a character that popped up. And I was so glad she showed up. It was the girl who could use, what's her, Anko. Anko?
Snake Girl, right?
Oh, yeah.
Snake Girl.
Uh-huh.
When Anko showed up, And there was a glimpse that it could possibility, like I could possibly see a nipple, even though they were not. When she bust through that window, I said, "Woo!" I was so happy because I was like, "There's finally somebody in this show that I deem sexy. Like you are
Wait,
sexy."
wait. Whoa.
Sakura was not getting it.
Whoa. I'm gonna fuck Sakura. I'm not talking about that. Wait, so you chose, and it is gonna be a little tangent real quick. You chose, and your preference was Anko. Not the one that was fucking with the third Hokage's son.
She was bad too, but I'm gonna tell you what. Hold on.
Them eyes, bro.
Yeah, but
Kurenai.
No, Kurenai.
Kurenai.
She
I
didn't
think it
really
was
get a lot of
Kurenai.
screen time.
She
at
didn't get a
that
lot of
time,
screen
though.
time.
And they did her dirty.
She
She was
up,
amazing.
She said, "I got nice eyes. I got red lipstick. Check out my mole. Bye."
that was my anime crush.
One thing,
for sure.
One thing I will say is that on the flip side, women they get their shoujo shows, you know, where the guys are
Porn
very
club.
submissive. Like me as a guy, I look at that and I'm just like, so you're walking all over this dude. He's bending to your will. He's doing everything for you. And we're
You're
supposed to
throwing
be,
the pussy at him, and he's not taking it.
Or you have
Or
those
he's not throwing
like
pussy at him, and he's trying to.
the way that I like to frame it is that you either have like the hard BL shoujo manga where it's like it's obviously about these two dudes who are crazy and like in love with each other, or you
I'm gonna
have
come
like
over and make
the
fish sticks with you.
the bad boy fantasy where it's like, oh my god, like this dude, he's like so
Sasuke.
Kya!
but it's like all right, like that is made. That and romance models are made for horny girls that are going through that thing. Like it's just like let us have our thing. And I understand it may not be the most moral thing in the world.
That's why it's genres.
Exactly, but we're going through it. Like, let me fucking masturbate.
He's fighting for his fucking life.
Fighting for
Horny
my
as
fucking
fuck.
porn. Shit. Fighting for my fucking porn.
Oh,
Fighting for
But it's not,
tits.
but
like,
it's not.
literally.
It's not even porn though.
It's
That's the
not.
crazy
It's not.
part.
It's just, you know.
It's wherever your head decides it's going to go to, but the thing is, that's your choice. That's the thing. Like, it was put there because it's like there might be a kid who's going through that. There might be a kid who might be like trying to figure out why his sexuality, like what's going on. And that's a thing girls are going through, guys are going through because it's that age. And that's what I explained to her, and she was like, I get it. It doesn't make sense from the outside, but like now that I'm getting closer to it, I'm seeing like what you mean. I was like, yeah, that's why she figured out why we as young kids all fell in love with Naruto at a young age. There's a lot of us that felt like we were completely not a part of something in some way, feeling like you weren't, you know, that you weren't there, and you're seeing this kid go from like nobody liked him to him actually trying, and like people being like, I kind of fuck with you, kid. Like there is something about you, and it made you feel like you were.
I feel like we went on a tangent.
We definitely did.
I was like, wait. Well, no, not just that, because like this all falls under like cultural appropriation and just like
Yeah.
titties and stuff, and then you're talking about.
It just
And then
happened.
Naruto said,
I have a
Believe
dream.
it.
Well, no. So here's the funny thing. Yes, when we're talking about the whole sexuality thing, very first episode of Naruto, what did he do? Sexy jutsu.
Yeah, it's true.
My
Yeah,
girlfriend
that's
was
it.
like, she was like,
I'm
I
just
would have been.
realizing that a lot of big animes or mainstream animes when they ever become mainstream, they get attacked. I mean, they get the most views. They get the most eyes on them. So thus, when they do something that like, in this case, sexy jutsu or
Yeah,
you know,
sexy
character
jutsu
got big
was
ass breast that comes out the blue over this,
controversial.
is just that comes with the territory of being you
Being
know
number one.
none. You know, it's like
Being
I
on
don't.
top.
Has One Piece ever had a situation like this?
One
I'm pretty
Piece
sure.
has had
Oh.
undeniable huge
Oh yeah,
titties
those
since
not
it
just
came
that.
out.
Women or people attack One Piece because the women's bodies are very unrealistic. But that's his art style.
That's our start.
So an amazing interview with Oda was like this. He was like reading some fan mail, and one fan wrote to him like, "Oh man, like I like Oda Sensei, I love your work so much, but I have to like confess something. Like I absolutely find myself so infatuated with Nami. Is it okay for me to paraphrasing to totally lewd your character?" And then he said, like, yeah, like, you know what, like, I absolutely love it. Like, if anyone out there, like, loves any of the characters that I have created. Like, go ahead and lewd the shit out of my characters. I don't care. Like, you enjoy yourself. It makes
Do
me
it.
happy. And it's like, yes.
Because at the end of the day, like, it's really up to them. Like, once he passed you to art and is like, hey, I'm gonna continue to make shit. Like, this is the official shit. Just understand, I'm not the one making this nasty, weird shit that you want to make. But if you want to make nasty shit out of my characters, go for it. Because that's your business. Look at all the Overwatch characters. If you go on Pornhub right now and type in Overwatch, your favorite character is getting fucked or sucking dick in some type of way. And I'm just saying, like, it's not because Overwatch made this. It's because. Yo, but it's true though. You guys know it. Like, it's true.
I don't know why, but I was thinking of that Soldier 76.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Soldier 76 looking for booty.
Sucking dick now. Actually.
Soldier 76 is doing
He's looking for
76
booty.
things.
It's like, hey, I got it in my sights. No, no.
Oh my god.
He's a warrior, son.
Yo.
Oh
Yo,
my god.
but that's the thing, yo. Like, at the end of the day, like, if this is what you want, if that's what you like, people don't understand. Like, you can't be like, oh, this person, I don't like this because of this. It's going against how I feel, and da da da. Okay, that's cool. That's your opinion, and that's where you're gonna have to stay with. Like, people have to understand, like, there's just shit that you have to just fucking move on with. Like I said, if you like Overwatch, if you like a certain video game, you know, that shit's somehow, if there's some fucked up shit you want to look for, it's out there. Somebody likes it just the same way you do in that aspect. And you gotta just move on. You gotta move on.
I think let the creators keep their integrity. Let them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and let's, you know, now, I understand there is limits. Like, you know, we don't want to see super wild things, but, like, if it's meant to be a certain way, let it be. And, you know, let's just appreciate the art as it is.
Yeah, and I mean they're doing God's work because here's the thing: if they don't take out, this is not for me or any of our normal people that like anime. This is for the sickos that we don't really know or that we don't associate with. So if you take away this thing that may have keep them in their minds or keep in their minds them tamed, then where do you think you're gonna take that repressed shit out on? So I mean, if it and that's just like, you know,
The extreme.
that's just the
I understand,
extreme.
yeah.
Like, this isn't something like, you know, like, oh, you give us our shit, or
That's
we're
why
gonna,
porn's
this is
important.
gonna happen. But it's
Yeah,
like
that's
people
why
don't.
porn's important. There
Let's
are
say like,
people
and
who-
I remember doing, let's say, doing a study on it, but I definitely will say that, you know, it's something that I thought about, and I'm like, you know, there's a lot of fucking sickos in this world, a lot of people that are really crazy, and that one thing that you might not like could be keeping them in place. And you taking that away means you just took away the buffer that make them go crazy, and then they go crazy.
That's
they
like
go
you
do
take away
shit.
Pokemon from Ming.
You take
Yes.
you take away you take away Pokemon from Ming, it's a wrap. If you know you see Chavez and that nigga don't got his motherfucking big breast titties, I don't know, Mike.
Listen, I do have a guilty pleasure, and I'm gonna admit this on this motherfucking podcast because you know what? Fuck today. I'm gonna say what I want to say. I like etchies.
I like etchies.
I mean,
I like etchies.
yeah, no,
I do.
no.
I like my etchies from time to time. I don't need it all
Yeah.
the time, but I do like them, and because they're funny to me. I think they're hilarious,
It's just
and they're
these awkward
sexy.
situations.
Yeah, they're
man. It
awkward
just be cracking
situations,
me up.
and then they're sexy at the same time. And it's just like, man, you know what? That made me happy, and I
Yeah.
move on. It's not like oh man, I've got to see this and all fucking X-rated. Like, it's not this crazy.
So you know what I do, and I'm since we're going to do admitting things, you know what I do if I watch something that like, so if I like my little harems and stuff like that, I'm like, cool, let me watch it, whatever it is, and this is something that maybe some people can practice if they don't like big titty things or they don't like certain stuff.
Mhm.
So I know that there are series and animes and mangas and all this stuff that pertains to a particular preference group.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
And, you know, I don't go out of my way to bash them and be like, you need to stop putting characters or making men or something questionable for straight men. Like, no. I just don't be like, hey, that is your thing.
I don't watch.
I don't have to watch it.
I don't watch.
It's
Django.
not meant for me.
I don't-
But I'm not gonna judge and knock your stuff down. It's called being a human being. being considerate. Yes, just because I may not watch it doesn't mean that I don't agree with it. It just means that it's not for me. It's for somebody else, a particular audience.
You like Boobly, they like LaCroix.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that one is doesn't mean one is less than the other. Like it doesn't mean one is less than the other or one should be eliminated because it doesn't fit my criteria what I like. It just means that is your particular preference. That is something that you like to watch. That is something that you like to do. This is for you. Doesn't mean that I gotta do it, but doesn't mean that I gotta knock your shit down. So
and even if you don't, just take it for what it is and appreciate it. So like a perfect example is and I feel like this is low key spoiler territory, but Chavez. No, not in that way. not in that way. But in the game Danganronpa, there is a character.
Yes.
Chavez could talk about it.
I
That's
didn't
like
talk
that.
about.
I fucking love that character.
But I, for the sake of the story and stuff, I appreciated that character because it moved the story and it showed a different side to another character. And I'm just showing like you can appreciate things that you may not go out of your way and actively like indulge in, but you can appreciate it for what it is.
Thank you, Danganronpa. We really like that game.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I gotta play 3.
Well, I
Eric 3
wanna
is really
play
good.
3. I never
I still
finished
gotta beat 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know when you want to do that. Let me know when you want to do
Niggas over
that.
here having a conversation. We gonna link up. You gonna have a date.
We can both sit here. You can tell me what you did. I'm gonna do my own thing.
Have a Danganronpa LAN party. Where you at? Did you talk?
yo, that bitch crazy. Yo, don't talk to her. No,
oh my god.
But yeah, so to move on from that particular topic,
Yeah, because we burned that joint through.
because like it's important. It's definitely important for artistic freedom. So my last thing outside of artistic freedom is just a quick run. This is important. For those who don't know, just a heads up. Xbox One S all digital edition. I just wanted to say that because it's a thing that's happening. We talked about it before.
We in our earlier,
we were talking about in the season 1 we were talking about there were 2 Xboxes coming out, but there is rumors. Rumors is that the streaming device is coming out sooner than people will probably imagine. And we're talking May. We're talking just before the motherfucking press conference at E3. Microsoft is going to try to do a power move, and this is what they're talking about. And it's and they're saying this new system does not have a disk drive. It is strictly built. There's no it's a disk drive, and it's supposed to be going for it's rumored at about $200, making it cheaper than a Nintendo Switch. And the Game Pass, it's gonna be, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come with the Game Pass subscription. That's what they meant by the whole streaming thing. Yeah. And yeah, that's what they're trying to go for. And I'm pretty sure the rumored name is Xbox One S. This would be the longest motherfucking game console name ever. Xbox One S all digital edition. Which then puts it back in the same argument which got the Xbox One in trouble the first time. About the whole
DRM. Can't share games. I mean, well, technically
Well,
you
you
can.
know what? Too bad. It doesn't matter because Xbox has no games. So that's
Wow. Man,
Holy shit.
Man, wow.
Whoa.
But no,
Holy shit.
I mean, people can still game share regardless. I mean, that's the way it work around. But if you mean physically go over to somebody's place.
With the Game Pass, I don't think it's possible.
What do you mean? Yes, it is.
Game Pass? I think Game Pass is a subscription. I don't think it's
so they can't even go onto like an Xbox store to buy games.
I don't know.
But I mean, all we do is still do the game share thing, or it is. I mean, even with the Game Pass, I would think.
I don't think that will work only because a Game Pass, the subscription is tied to the name and the account itself. So, possibly not.
Well, I'm not buying it because I haven't bought Xbox in a long time. So fuck it. It is what it is. Sony all the way. Woo! Yeah.
The only thing I want to say about this is it reminds me of when the Wii had the Wii Mini. The Wii Mini was a digital console, so you had to get everything digitally. So it reminds me of that, like going, think about that.
That's scary. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I just want to throw that news out there because I wanted to say it before it was big.
Before it was big, is the article is already written about.
Not really. It was quick. It was quick. It was all quick. I want to do it before like they finally, because Microsoft was gonna probably pop out next week and be like, oh, yeah, it's real. Like, because
Put it on record, guys. Chavez talked about this first before any of the journalists.
Yeah, nigga, because I got an insider. I got an insider. His name is. I can't tell you that because he's insider. It's Google.
Because I googled it.
My insider is IGN. All right, guys. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. It was lit. All right. R&R out.